I'm going to start off with a nice, easy question. What is the secret to beating loneliness?
Apply yourself to something that interests you and be around good people. But ultimately, my favorite thing about the title is that it's impossible, but it shows good intention. I love the fact that it's trying, you know?
No question at all. And it's hard to be lonely at a live concert. That's another thing that I love about music, even though it can be, something you can listen to by yourself. Going to a live concert, you are surrounded by a few thousand of your closest friends. So, what are fans in store for in the land of milk and honey?
Just effervescent enthusiasm and like a desire to play. And I find myself so lucky to have a band that is so willing to leave home and just be fantastic every night and just give it and just really care about each show, um, and just want to be great. And so they push me, and I think that the only way I can justify being away this much throughout my life and away from my sort of creature comforts of home and stuff like that is to try and be good. As long as I try and be as good as I can, because the idea of being out doing all that, sacrificing the personal stuff, um, and then kind of phoning it in or being sort of disgruntled or, do you know what I mean, like upset about things, that is too challenging for me. I think I don't know if it's a bit nerdy, but I just love the idea of trying to improve the show all the time and just trying to be better. I'm not the greatest singer in the world by any stretch, so therefore my singing can continually improve. The ceiling is enormous of potential. The Beatles and Mozart used the same 12 notes. So again, my ceiling for my potential for improvement is gigantic. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. It's just this journey of trying to get better all the time because it makes life so much more interesting. Since I gave my life to music, it gives my life meaning to give it passion and TLC, not to just take it for granted. And that's why I don't play all the same songs. That's why I don't. That's why I keep writing records, even if some people, some bands it works to have records that everyone loves and they play them and then they go home. And it doesn't work for me personally.
Always kind of looking ahead and moving forward. How are tour preps going so far?
Great. We had 3 days of rehearsal. The first day was like pretty disastrous. We played about rehearsing about 10 different new couple of new and a couple of old songs that made out 10. And I've been recording, so I had been applying myself for the band, but I hadn't really. Oh, I've been singing the songs, driving places. But I got to tell you, there's a couple of times I hit a couple of sections. I was like, I'm out. I don't even know what chords are happening here. So I was pretty comical the first day, and then I kind of got myself together, got home, was like, okay, all right, just try and be an adult tomorrow. And I went to work as an adult, had a great rehearsal, and we sound like a different band. Always the first day in a rehearsal room. I've had it in my whole career. You sound awful the first day. You sound awful. You're like, wow, this room's terrible. My guitar's terrible. He's got a terrible sound. I'm not going to tell him. Whatever. It doesn't gel. And then suddenly, I don't know what happens, but it's like fairy dust. The next day you go in, and suddenly it's all there. It's the weirdest thing. It happens to me always. So shouldn't take the first day too personally. And it is rehearsals after all. So you're at liberty to be a bit crappy the first day.
And then the magic happens, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Look, you've been
Yeah.
doing this for a long time. You've been rocking out for more than 30 years. You're a grandfather now. So, can you talk to me a little bit about what it's like being back out on the road and kind of playing for these intergenerational crowds that have come out to see you? People have grown up on your music. They have their own kids now. They might have their own grandkids as well coming out to see you guys.
Yeah. What a gift. At first I was really intimidated by it. And I was like, oh, but it's like just feels to me that I made some right decisions. I had this wonderful run-in with Butch Vig the other night, um, from Garbage, and obviously the world famous producer. And it was a great moment because he was back in the day. I did a demo for EMI. They never signed me, but I did the demo. And the guy I knew there said, "Come in, I want a meeting with you." And it was about Butch Vig. And I thought, oh my God, here we go to Shangri-La. What's up? Butch Vig is doing our record. And he really liked my voice. I don't think he didn't care about the songs. That's all 16 stone. He wanted me to go to Madison, Wisconsin to try out for Garbage, right? And I've told this story for years without really knowing the details because I've always been like careful, saying, look, it probably was 10 singers and Shirley would have got it anyway, but I was just in that pool. But I said to him, "So what was the story?" And he goes, "No, we loved your voice." Him and the other guy, one of the other band members, um, um, and so they wanted me to come out, but I've just got my act together with Bush. I use the word act because we're on TV, so I want to be polite. So I was like, I can't. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I can't leave. So I said, no, I can't come out. I just got this band. And what do you mean they didn't like the songs? And no, he didn't care about the songs, just liked your voice and was interested in you. So I was like, well, then thank you so much. Just, politely decline. And then I never heard from EMI. That guy, never, well, he went away and never went to Madison, Wisconsin. But we were talking about it the other night. Butch goes, yeah, you made the right choice. And Shirley's the right choice. Shirley's the queen. So there'd be no Garbage without Queen Shirley. So life works out how it should. But yeah, I was definitely um, it just feels good to have made these decisions to be in this band and those shows. There's multi-generational thing as you reference. It's just warms my heart. Like I feel like good about myself. I'm English. We're not meant to feel good about ourselves too much. So for an English person to feel good about themselves is really extreme.
So, you referenced being an English person and not being able to feel good about yourself. The lyrics on this song, the album packs an emotional punch, but it's kind of juxtaposed these dark themes with also this sense of hope. Does that kind of resonate with you personally?
Yeah, because it's all me personally. I mean, you know, I don't like to necessarily talk about myself too much in that sense because I think everybody's in the same way. That's why I've song everyone is broken as opposed to I'm broken, right? And so, you got a tense upbringing. It's a little bit, it's very contentious and stuff. And so you always have an inner world and an inner darkness, an inner world that I would refer to the whole time. And it's quite chaotic in my life at certain points. And that was before anyone helped anyone. There's no therapy then. I think it was like that. And so I don't know. Everyone has these inner worlds, and it's just most people are kind of miraculous. They're just getting through life. Whoever you date, 6 months into the dating, you suddenly find out who they are, and you're like, God damn, we got some challenges, and whoa, what are these triggers about? And you just see that everyone has got these sort of like um, broken pieces to themselves, and yet plow forward and you stay positive and you just sort of like try and be the best version of yourself. So I just love that. I like owning up to that vulnerability, and I think it helps. And if you talk about it and open, I mean, I talk about that um letting the cable sleep. Was that on a record from 1999? Silence is not the way. So it's all about expressing yourself, and so when I see those crowds, they're just filled with joy. Even in the maudlin songs, it's like they're uplifting, even though they're a bit maudlin here and there.
And I love that you guys are using the album art to include numbers to helplines. And I like that you connected with We Connect to kind of help people who may be struggling with
Yeah.
some issues, both personally and, mental health wise.
Thank you for saying that because not many people have noticed that. So I hope the people have. Well, it's good to include that, and that actually is a website. It's quite brilliant, where any country in the world, I think, I mean, probably maybe Gabon or something like that is maybe, I'm not sure, but every country in the world, there's a number for people to call for a suicide helpline. And I can't believe people commit suicide. I just find it just shocking. And I've had situations where I'm, a basket case, where you're feeling so bad you can't get off the floor or whatever. But God, how bad can must people feel to do that, to go through with that? And so there's far too many people committing suicide. Men 4 times as likely to commit suicide as women. So I just thought it just feels like not vocational, but being a man in a position like this, where I have forms of expression, people aren't going to read poetry books, are they? So if I can put it to songs, I think that, and it's beautiful because people do come up to me and talk about the effect that the band has had on them and what the lyrics have had on them. You know, people don't have never come up to me and said, where do you get your t-shirt from, or your hair's nice. Where's who cuts your hair? No, it's always uh, lyrically, emotionally based. Usually, that they've gone through something, and I've we've been part of that recovery, solace, comfort, whatever you have you put it. And so that's what I get. Like on tour, oh my god! Like if I'm in a city, but I mean, in just walking around anywhere, 3 times a day, wherever I go. So it's incredible. It's incredible. Music, the reach of music is just, it's staggering.
Well, Gavin, you're also a man of many talents, and I know you like to cook as well. Dinner with Gavin Rossdale. So, is that another way you like to connect with people? Is over food?
Yeah. It's like an absolute act of love and servitude, because I'm feral. I'm self-taught and I'm really efficient. Like I'm not slow, but I always overreach. So every dinner is a couple of hours. Very rare if you know, my kids are going through Lent, they're with their mum. They're very, two of them are growing up in the Catholic Church, so I'm respectful of that. So I cook the fish on Fridays, and the best thing about cooking fish is those dinners are really quick. It's like those dinners are super fast, you know. So I welcome those,
Do you
but I
cook on
love it.
tour?
Yeah, I have usually the bus has 2 hobs, and what else do you need? It doesn't get that hot, 'cause there's a smoke alarm. So, well, I've tried to cook steak for the dog before, and cook bacon in there, but generally better if I keep the temperatures lower. But yeah, I like it. And I'm taking my dog on tour, so I do need to figure how to cook those high temperature category foods like the meats and stuff that he eats
So you'll kind of
bison.
work. I was going to say he heard us talking about him. He started making his way through the background. Listen, I saw an interview with you where you kind of talked about phones and how everybody has access to this smorgasbord of all the things that interest you on your phone. So phones are one of those things that get a lot of attention right now because they both give us access to the entire world, but unfortunately, they can also leave us kind of isolated and alone. But just kind of looking at social media in general, are you active on it? Do you like using it? And what does your For You page look like?
Um, my For You is generally it used to be much more fun. Now it's just if I look at it for me, it is just literally it is just all like dog trainers, um, tennis training, no more tattoo artists, no more examples of a tattoo artist's work. That was so much pleasure, but it's gone. Now I've got, if you have an overreactive Malinois, this is what you do. So stupid. Uh, it's
Mine
like,
is I so my wife and I just had a baby. We have a 10-week old. So
uh,
mine is all new parent content. It's tattoo artist and it's receding hairline solutions because that's where I'm at these days.
well, I've heard Turkey is a wonderful place to go for a holiday.
I have heard that as well. Listen, you're coming to Washington, D.C., the second stop on the tour, April 9th. What can fans expect? Do you like coming here to the nation's capital?
Oh, I love it. We were just there. We did Tiny Desk, which was such an honor, huge honor. I think that's the greatest show. To me, it's the best show. I mean, obviously the prestige of SNL is undeniable, but Tiny Desk just feels to me the pinnacle for musicians right now. It's really to be invited on there is a huge honor. So we had an amazing time. We rehearsed really hard for that. So that was a more intimate, stripped down version. So we're bringing the heat to Washington. We've rehearsed up lots of songs. I now know all the chords, so I shouldn't mess up too much. Although inevitably, as a human being, there's the other job of performing. It's the distance between really good and really bad is very slight on a guitar. It's very slight. So I got to watch that. But yeah, just enthusiasm, a great mix. We're really trying to get the mixture of songs that people want to hear. Some deep cuts, no consecutive deep cuts. So I don't want to use this interview to put anyone off coming. Still have the kind of benchmark songs within it, but like a nice range of some older stuff, War Machine, Float, things like that. Um, things like that. Come in here, babe. See you later. Love you. Keep in contact with me. Say hi. It's my son Zuma.
Hello. Thanks for stopping by. All right, Gav, thank you so much
All
for
right,
spending some time with us here in Washington, D.C.
for
Congratulations.
sure.
Good luck with the tour. We can't wait to see you, and this has been an honor.
Thank you so much. All the best. See you.